In this video, I'll be taking a look at this Japanese maple, understanding why it's struggling, what I did about it, how I found out what the problem was, and indeed what you might do with a new Japanese maple tree that you've just bought to make sure it survives the summer. Hi there maple fans, and in this series of videos I'll be sharing what I do throughout an entire year on a monthly basis. Please note that these months are based on UK timings, but of course can easily be adapted to anywhere else in the world. So here we have one of my trees that I bought last year that's just got off to a really bad start. It should be much healthier than this, more leaves, more luscious, just looking a lot better really. And if you watch the video all the way through, you'll see how I can analyse and compare that tree against other trees. And also, what you can do to it. I bought the tree now, it belongs to me. Now's the time to see what we can do to repair the damage. As you saw there, it wobbles around a lot when you gently move the stem. It doesn't feel very secure. It just looks in a bit of a sorry state, really. Again, very soon we'll be looking at other indicators, how you can tell your tree's poorly, and also comparing it to other trees that I have as a bit of a benchmark, really. But this one just doesn't seem to be performing terribly well. If you actually look at these very luscious looking trees in a local supermarket and again gently move the stems, it has the same effect. They seem to wobble around rather a lot, and this indicates a very, very poor root system we'll look at. Another real giveaway is this is a tree that hardly ever seems to need watering. I've watered loads of trees today. It's been quite warm, it's been quite windy here in the UK, but this one's still okay and doesn't need any water. Again, points to the root system. So I think a great tip here as well is to look at some of the leaves. You can see they look a bit rotten, a bit white mildew on there. This often is caused by just excess water in the whole tree system, really. It's like the leaves are trying to get rid of water desperately because they're flooded, but in doing so they actually get damaged in the process. And there we have more sort of mildewy type contamination there. The thing to do with those leaves is to actually cut that off immediately. If it spreads to other trees, which you could do, or across this tree, it doesn't always cause a massive problem, but it's really very unsightly, and you can be left with an unsightly tree until the end of the season, when in fact the leaves are lost and it can grow a new set next year. But definitely a good idea to get rid of that, so there's no chance it's going to spread any further. So I must be honest, the tree that's the focus of today's video that's having an issue was in fact pointed out by my partner Tina, who quite rightly said it just seems to not look as good as other trees of a similar age. It just doesn't look right. So if you look at this tree here, Tamukiyama, that's doing really, really well. It's gone through its growth spurt for the spring. It's surging forwards. It's kind of surprising actually how good actually it's performing, which is excellent. But again, if you look down below, and others who follow my videos will have know what I do here, this is still in the original small pot that it came in. So that's been allowed to spend a whole year in there. So it really, really progresses well. So another tree that the ornatum was actually sitting next to is this twisted spider. And once again, you can see how lush it is, how vigorous it is. It's touching the neighbouring plants around it now because it's just grown that much in the spring growth spurt. So again, it's all indicating that the tree that in question today has a big, big problem, to be honest with you, and needs a lot of TLC and some immediate action to hopefully stop the damage. And just quickly showing you one more for comparison. Beautiful little tree, lush, loads of leaves. I mean, sure, some trees are more sparse than others, and that's fair enough. But I think you agree that it's really quite easy to spot when you own a few maples that one is struggling. Best thing to do at this stage is act absolutely immediately. Don't leave it, don't wait. Get in there and take some corrective action, which I'll show you. So the key to Japanese maples is really understanding how their roots are doing. They're of course covered up, we can't see them. So what happens with the supermarket trees is they get overfed, they produce loads and loads of growth on top, the bit we can see, and the bit below is kind of hidden. So if you look at this tree here, which is in quite a large pot compared to the small black ones that the Tamukiyama was in, well, let's have a look. Let's see how the root system's actually doing and try and understand what's going on. So the first thing to do is sort of strip off anything off the top, really, get rid of that bark, get rid of whether that's put on by yourself, whether it's put on by the supplier. No odds really. Again, a pot half full of bark is quite cheap, to be honest with you. And just a grab and a wobble there, it doesn't feel right. It's not like all of that compost is moving as one. it seems quite weak. And again, interestingly, that it was staked up by the supplier as well, because in fact it isn't really, very stable. The root system isn't very strong, the trunk isn't very thick, and that's honestly what they've had to do to make sort of more of it. So why would a supplier actually put a tree in a pot that's too big? The answer's simple: it just sells for more. It's a bit of a cheat, really. Now, you may be thinking, well, I've bought the tree now. That's absolutely fine. I've got small trees I bought from supermarkets or DIY stores. No problem at all. But they just need to be treated in the proper way, and actually can do very well, as you'll see from some of my other videos. So it doesn't mean that you've made a bad purchase in the sense you haven't got a viable product. It just means it's been treated rather badly, to be honest with you. So we need to make some corrective action. So having removed the top layer, I'm just going to gently lift the whole tree out of the pot there. Now, in fairness, it's actually come out as one. If you find that it falls apart at this stage, that's a very, very strong indicator of terrible overpotting. There was just too much compost there that's not full of roots. So on the surface, that looks to be doing okay. But do remember, this is not a tree that I bought very recently. This has actually had a year to sort of grow. So it doesn't look too bad, really. It looks like we've got a pot full of roots there. But the actual investigation needs to go further, because in reality, those roots are in really, really poor condition. And if you give it a squeeze and give it a tap, you can kind of see the original root ball is still doing well in the middle. That feels quite firm. But what's going on outside is a completely different story. And just to say, if you'd like to come with me on my Acer journey, please do like and subscribe to my little channel. It really, really helps. I've also recently set up a Patreon site, so that's a great way of supporting me too, and help out with some of the costs of my excursions, really. There's also the offer of some personal help, if you'd like it, either in a group format or on a one-to-one basis. So here's the starting investigation, really. So just popping it on the tree on an upturned pot there, and gently having a pull and a tug around the compost round. And what you can see is it's actually just breaking apart, it's falling away. So those roots on the edge are quite rotten, to be honest with you. If you come to larger sort of brown roots, those are healthy, so we're trying to avoid disturbing those. But what I'm going to do is sort of work away round in circles, keep rotating round, and gradually sort of get the outer rotten part of the roots away till I get to the root core. So the idea of this in principle is we don't need all this surplus wet compost, to be honest. There's a better route there, so we'll leave that one for sure. So you're not pulling anything away, I'm not cutting, I'm literally just gently working away with my fingers. And as you can see, it's really falling apart. So what we're trying to do under this exercise is to minimize the amount of compost around the tree itself. And you could do this with an older plant that's in trouble. You could do this with a plant you've just bought, actually. And that sounds a bit ridiculous to sort of put it into an actual smaller pot. But really, it's been overpotted hugely, potentially, by the supplier anyway. So it's a really good sort of insurance policy. Those people who've watched my other videos, I'd recommend doing that. I cover places you can buy trees which are from more professional growers. And the pots they ship in are full of roots, or they should be when you buy them. This is not the case with some of the cheap supermarkets, etc. It's a very low budget product. Nothing wrong with the tree. It's absolutely fine, really. But the poor thing has been sort of put into a larger pot, sold to make a profit. And they kind of hope that you're not really going to keep it, I suppose. It's going to die, which is a real shame. So here we go, working away here. More and more compost is falling away. So I'm just trying to get back to the core root ball, really, to kind of give it that pot that it really, really deserves. So a quick shout out to the more than 10,000 subscribers now that I've now got. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you so much. And it just gives me that bit of incentive, really, to keep the channel going. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. There's loads of videos available now. Japanese maples are absolutely gorgeous. It's a wonderful hobby. They just require a little bit of input and a little bit of learning, but can be really, really rewarding, actually, if you make that effort. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll keep the channel going for many years to come. At this point in the video, I was actually getting rather surprised just how much compost is being removed. It really does show you that many trees are given far too much. They will then retain too much water. The roots get soggy. They don't really get protection over winter either, because the root ball is just far too small for the compost that it's sitting in. And this is also why I always repot things in the spring, so those roots have chance to grow into the new pot. So comparing size for size there, that looks a better fit, and there's far less compost that would fit into the new one. But just offering it up, the question is, is that correct, or is it still too big? So just looking there about how much I've removed, absolutely tons of it. It's very soggy. It's rather a soggy mess, really. But I'm just in my mind, is the pot on the right correct, or maybe the pot on the left? Actually, the best thing to do at this stage is to use the smallest pot that you can really get away with, because, and this was advised by several maple growers, to be honest, they don't need any more. And if you're trying to save the tree, this is absolutely paramount. So what we can see there is a sort of just the core of the roots. I've tried not to damage them. I've tried to keep them intact as much as possible. So here I am actually just taking the core of the roots there, just offering it up to a very, very small pot. And again, interestingly, this is the pot size I normally pay £16.50 for from a really good maple supplier. So that's a pretty good fit, actually. And that's what I'll be choosing. So in a sense, I've now taken the tree back a whole year. And in fact, beyond that, in a sense, to what the pot size it should have been in. I mean, look how small it is in the ceramic pot there. And that's a lot. Ceramic pot is a lot smaller than the actual plastic technical pot that it was supplied as. So we'll leave that into the small technical pot there, and there it will stay. There's some more TLC to be done actually in terms of location, but that tree can stay in there for a year, possibly two, actually, to really sort of regain its strength, hopefully, and do much better. At this stage, there's nothing else I would do actually. Once it's repotted, I'm just firming it down there. I'm going to put a little bit of compost in there of the existing compost it came with, which probably isn't a bad idea, because the nursery supply with quite a free draining compost, or they should, so that should keep the sort of moisture down to a degree, but the sheer volume of it that it came with was the real issue. So what I'm then going to try and do, because it is a bit top heavy now, is pop the tree into a ceramic pot and just weight it down with some stones around the edges, to be honest with you. That gives the pot some weight, it stops it falling over. The last thing we want to is to creating more damage to this tree. And then it's all about sort of picking an ideal location away from heat and wind, and particularly direct sunlight, to try and give it the best chance possible. So we have it in location amongst all its friends. The best protection for maples, in my view, is more maples, to be honest with you. So we've got lots of variety there. These will be coming up in future videos if you're interested, including the lovely Yukagumo, which is having a good year this year. So the trees there, I have taken action, I've done what I could, and fingers crossed, and I'm quite hopeful it will do really, really well.